today, and we're going to get started in a minute. I'm just still admitting more people. I want to make sure they get on before we, there we go. Okay. So today we're going to talk about some information, giving you some information about customer service issues and getting satisfactory results when you have a problem. And sometimes we're looking at circumstances where there are some companies where you cannot speak to a person, and it becomes very, very difficult. So we want to see what are the alternatives sometimes when the company also isn't very responsive. So Manjette is going to be presenting about this today. And I will, as normal, Dave and I will monitor the chat. And I will ask all of you if you want the follow-up information. Please put your email addresses in the chat. Oh wait, who just came on where it's not muted? Make sure you're all muted, please. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yes, put your email into the chat so that you get the follow-up. I'm a little behind on the last couple days, so you'll be getting those all at once. And definitely, Iris, I will send you that chat. One of the things I want to tell you about with the chat is that if you you click on that chat button at the bottom of the screen, and your chat box opens up where it says type message here. Over to the right of that is a little very light colored gray box with 3 dots in it. If you open that, so click on the 3 dots, another box opens up and it says at the top of it, save chat. And if you do that, it'll save the completed chat. You can do that anytime during the meeting, but it's a good idea to do it at the beginning so you don't forget. So if there is something you want right away in the chat, that you can get that information.
Also, Judy, I don't believe there's any safe chat on iPhone, Android, or tablet. There is safe chat on computers, desktops.
Yes, yes, that is true. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Manjette. Yes, it's so much easier if you come into it from a bigger device for that. But then you don't need to worry as long as you get me your email. And if for some reason you're on a phone or a tablet and you have difficulty using the chat and you want to just send me a direct email later on to say, send me the follow-up information from a particular meeting. Again, it's just Judy, Judy, at seniorplanet.org. So Judy at seniorplanet.org, and you can email me anytime. Plus, I also can, I will send you in that follow-up email all the back information too of any recordings that we have or anything like that. So I won't delay any further, and we'll go ahead, Manjette, if you want to get started.
Okay, so one of the things, I'm going to go ahead and go through the slideshow presentation. And then when I go to show you the online resources, then we'll be open up for questions. So I won't do questions during the slideshow presentation. It's a short slideshow, but I just want to give people an overview and an idea of how they might approach filing a complaint if they need to. And so we'll go through the slideshow, and then when I go to start demoing and showing the resources to you, then I'll open up for questions. Also, if we have time, I have a bonus about the little widget that you may have been seeing on the Senior Planet website. It's a little blue widget, little person in a circle. And so if we have time, I will go through what that is as well. So I shall begin with the slideshow. And we will go into So one of the things that I was thinking about as I was working with Stella on her problem, her email had gotten hacked. And so while I was working with her on that, I realized that a lot of people may not know or understand how they might be able to file a complaint when something happens to them in the online world. And I also realize that same as they may not know how to file a complaint, they may not know how to file a compliment, and both are important. And hopefully you'll agree with me when we get through the slideshow presentation. So this is me. For those who don't know me, I'm Monette. I am a trainer here at Colorado, Senior Planet Colorado, and this is my rarely played but beloved banjo. And as I was looking and putting this together, I thought of the questions that we might want to answer with this type of information. And so why bother filing a complaint or compliment at all? What are two types of complaints or compliments? And what makes filing your complaint and compliment, especially online, so powerful? What are three things that can increase your chances of getting the results you want? And what type of resources might be helpful for you to be able to file a complaint or a compliment online? So why would someone want to complain? One of the things that I was thinking about is how to frame why someone might want to complain. So you think about, did you get what you expected? Sometimes the product or service that they advertise isn't quite what they give you, right? It's not what they promised. Why give a compliment online? Once again, did you get what you expected? Maybe the product or service is not only exactly what you wanted, but maybe it was even better than what they promised you. So I saw in my research that there are two types of complaints and two types of compliments. There is the expressive complaint. The expressive complaint is when you just want to tell an organization or service provider how you feel. You're not really having an expectation of them solving the problem. So you just want to let them know how you feel. And a lot of the complaints you see online are expressive complaints. People just want to voice how they feel about it. An instrumental complaint is one that you make when you want that organization or company to respond. You want them to help resolve the problem. And so we have this beautiful cake, and the cake decorator, instead of putting Nancy's name all in caps, just wrote the instructions, Nancy in caps. And so that might be a problem. You may want the cake to be redone and things like that. So that would be an instrumental complaint. Same with compliments. You can have an expressive compliment. I may have gone grocery shopping, and when I'm standing in the checkout counter and the clerk says to me, "Did you find everything you needed today?" And I say, "Oh yes, the produce looked great." And when I was trying to find the rice, the clerk was very helpful in helping me find the rice. And so once again, you're just expressing to the organization or the service provider how you feel about the service or the product that you may have bought. And you're not necessarily expecting to have change or anything done with it. You're just expressing your feeling. An instrumental compliment would be similar to what you might do when you fill out the survey form that Judy and all of us ask you to do all the time. Because that information that you give us on that survey form, whether it's a compliment or a complaint, helps to maintain what we're already doing well and to improve on what we need to improve on. So that would be an instrumental compliment or complaint. What makes filing your complaints or compliments online powerful? Surveys have shown that 69% of people, after having a positive experience with a company, would recommend the company. This helps the company gain more business, to stay in business and be able to continue to provide that service. Same with an organization like us. 89% of consumers take their business to a competitor after a negative experience. And if you don't file a complaint and let them know what they're doing wrong, then there's less opportunity for that organization or company to improve. And so it actually can be beneficial both to you as a consumer or a person who has received services from an organization to actually go ahead and file that complaint, even if you are going to take your business somewhere else. 55% of customers become a customer because of the company's reputation, especially in the area of customer service. So this becomes important to you as a consumer to be able to see this information about a company before you engage in working with them or buying a product from them. This to me is the most important stat of all. 93%. Oh, sorry. I don't think it showed. 93% of consumers say that online reviews impact their purchasing decisions. So if you don't file a complaint or a positive message about an organization or business you're dealing with, that information is just gone. It's not there for you to use, and it's not there for anybody else to use. That's, to me, a very important thing that people may want to realize or think about when they are thinking about whether to file a compliment or even a complaint. So there are three things that increase your chances of getting the results you want. They all start with the letter P, but not the squirrel. The squirrel does not start with the letter P. The squirrel, though, stands for prepare. And you want to consider the facts of the matter as you prepare to file either your complaint or a compliment. And from here on, I'm going to talk mostly about filing complaints. You want to know your rights. So depending on what you're complaining about, you may need to do some research to find out what are my rights in this matter? What can I reasonably expect to have when I go to the company and be able to say for certainty, you owe me this or you need to help me with this. You're going to want to keep records and notes. Also, again, when you're filing a complaint online, you may have to fill out a form. And so you want to have your records, your notes, your information there so that you can fill out the forms. You want to be able to describe your complaint. So this is that difference, again, between expressive and instrumental. If it's an expressive complaint, I don't necessarily want to describe the reason I'm complaining. I may just want to say, I waited for 30 minutes, I didn't see you, I'm gone, right? So I'm not really describing the complaint, I'm not really describing the situation. But on an instrumental complaint, you want to be very clear and describe exactly what your complaint is with that organization or company. You also need to have a clear reason why you feel the business should do something for you. And this is where knowing your rights can really help you understand what you can ask that business to do to help you resolve that issue. And then finally, you want to be clear about exactly what you want the business to do to resolve the problem. I was buying a car this past summer, and there were very specific things that I needed to ask the company to do to help me in that process. I have the beaver because that reminds me of persistence. One of the things you want to think about when you're getting ready to file a complaint, or if you are filing a complaint, is how important is that desired outcome to you? Because this may or may not be an easy process. Getting my car and getting that matter straight when I was buying the car took 6 months. You want to be timely with your complaint. So you don't want to procrastinate and wait, because sometimes there might be a warranty or a limited window in order for you to file the complaint. So you do want to be timely with your complaint if you decide you do want to do an instrumental complaint. Be prepared to go outside the company or organization. Getting the matter with my car straight involved, I used to think it was just 6 entities, but then I actually sat down for this presentation and counted my way through and found out that it was actually 8 entities. My credit union, the dealer that I was buying the car from, the DORA, Department of Regulatory Agencies, the State Attorney General's Office, and Denver Attorney General's Office, and DMV. So there were multiple entities that I had to deal with in order to resolve the matter with my car. Be willing to seek out advice, get help, and be willing to be flexible. As I was trying to investigate the matter with my car, I found out additional information and additional places to go, so I changed how I was doing the complaint. Be reasonable in your expectations. I wanted to have a good running car. I was not looking to sue for money or things like that. And because of that, it helped my complaint go through because I didn't bring in extra things or ask for things that were unreasonable. Be appropriate and mindful of your time and energy. So do be aware that you can get caught up in filing a complaint. You can accidentally do more than you need to do. You can worry about it. You can ruminate over it. So be careful with yourself as well. And be mindful of yourself and your energy level. And decide, is that outcome still important to me? Is it still worth this effort? Or maybe I have done enough. My last P is patience, and herons are known as very patient hunters. They will stand for long periods of time, waiting until a fish or whatever comes by, and they are able to catch it. So you do need to understand that patience will often help you be mindful of the fact that this process may take a long time. As I said, for my car, it took 6 months. So depending on the complaint itself, depending on the company or the organization's ability to respond, depending on what you're asking for as a solution, and depending on whether or not you have to involve other people, organizations, or go through a complex process to file your complaint, this can take a while. So now we're going to go online, and I'm going to show you the resources and things, and I'll open it up for questions. I just wanted to give you on this slide an overview of the different groups of information that you may want to look at. First, when you're filing a complaint, first of all, you want to look at that company or organization's website and see if they have a complaint process for you to follow. There are other websites and organizations like Yelp, PIST Consumer, AARP.org MoneyPage that can give you additional information about how to file a complaint. There are some really amazing local government and state government websites, and especially the state attorney general of the state that you live in have really good resources. The federal government itself also has some really amazing resources. So I will stop screen sharing. And are you still seeing my screen?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So now I'm back with you. So as I go into showing you online different places, the handout that I will send out to you, that I will send to Judy, and then Judy will send out to you, will have all of the links that I'm going to show you, as well as basic steps in filing a complaint and additional resources. So I just wanted to give you an overview and to help you set expectations about filing a complaint, because it can take a while. As I said, for my car, that was 6 months, but I have had things resolved as easy as in 2 days. Amazon had sent me the wrong package, so I called them. I said, this is not the stuff I ordered, and they said, no worries, you can keep that package since that was our mistake, and they expedited the items that I was waiting on and sent them to me. So it can be fast depending on what you're asking for, depending on the organization you're dealing with, or it can take a while, like my car, 6 months. And so now I'm going to go into my tabs.
Remember to put your emails in the chat if you want the follow-up information.
Okay, so let me just close that one. And, oh, my connection was interrupted. Okay, so I accidentally closed Yelp, but we will refresh and hopefully. So Yelp is a review site, and it's different than PIST Customer, which is a complaint site. So let me see if I can get my Yelp back so that you can see. Yes, I did mean to go to Yelp. For some reason. Okay, so while I am pulling up Yelp, Yelp is a rating site where you can put down reviews and recommendations of different businesses that you have interacted with. And because it knows approximately where I'm located, it will often go ahead and put in when you first come to Yelp, it'll often put in your local area, or at least where it thinks you are. And you can search for businesses, services, organizations that are near you. You see, this is Yelp Denver, so it's focused on Denver, but you can search and to see if there is a, sorry, I have to move that out of the way, see if there is a Yelp for your particular city or area, and you can just do a search. So this is a good place to go before you do business with a company or organization to see what other people may have said about it. And that 93% that I was telling you, most of us are doing this. We're looking things up, we're looking organizations and companies up. Yelp is a good established service for getting reviews and seeing how it is, but I don't recommend you only use one. So same for a complaint. If I want to find out if a company has a good reputation or not, I may want to look them up on Yelp and see what others have said about complaints. Were they able to get their complaints answered? Was it an easy process? People will put that information up online for you. Pissed Consumer is a place that helps you file a complaint. And so they have information about not only about a company, but they will also have information about how to file a complaint and review. So this is another site, but this one is focused more for complaints. And so you can often find good information about a particular company that may have had a lot of complaints about it. Cricket Wireless used to have a pretty bad reputation. They were cleaning it up somewhat. So you could come here and see, have they done enough cleanup? Is it an organization I want to work with? Or if I have a problem, how others may have resolved similar issues. Apparently, all of my websites. Ripoff Report is one of the older. It is a for-profit site, so there will be commercials on here. Things will pop up. And because it is a for-profit, they still do ask for money. Well, they might be a 501(c), but I think they are for-profit. Anyway, they're an older site, and because they have advertisements, I tend not to use it as much. But it still does have some good information on companies and so on, and how to file complaints against them and how to find resources if you're having trouble connecting to customer service for a particular company. AARP's money webpage has information on scams and fraud. And so this will have different articles and so on about how to deal with scams. And page, you would just click on scams and fraud, and you'd be taken to that particular area of information. Now, I didn't find a lot of current articles about filing complaint, but they do have articles about filing a complaint and a process you may want to follow. They also have information, a lot of information on identity theft. So that's part of the reason why I like AARP's website. And again, you can interrupt me as I am going through this. I will stop in about 5 minutes showing you the tabs, and then we can also open that up for general questions as well. So this is denver.gov. So what I showed you before were some outside organizations, nonprofits, for-profit, that help people make complaints and find out information about organizations and companies. And now we're at my local Denver City government page that has information on, once you get past the COVID information, has a place where you can report a problem. And you can do this for city services, but you can also do this for a business or organization that is operating in the Denver metro area. Most municipalities have some sort of complaint area or complaint line where you can file a complaint about government services as well as other things that are happening within your municipality. This is the Denver Police Department. Again, your police department will have information and web pages where you can get more information about protecting yourself, as well as if you have to report a crime. And so you'll see, depending on how they're organized, you'll see the different areas that you can go to find out information about filing a complaint. The city attorney's office, again, this is another resource in your municipality that you should be able to access, and they usually will have a complaint process as well as information for legal self-help. And so when I was trying to get matters dealt with my car, I actually came to the Legal Self-Help Center, and I connect to a low-cost, free to scaled service provider. And so I did get some consultation with a lawyer. Unfortunately, because of the nature of my situation, they weren't able to help me very much other than help me frame my complaint. So they actually helped me understand how I should write up the complaint that I was doing. But here is our self-help area from City and County Denver, connects us to self-help at the state level. This is the City Attorney General's office. Again, they have a process to file a complaint. So depending on how you may want to escalate your complaint, if you have to deal with organizations or get help from organizations outside of the particular agency or organization that you're having a problem with, that you're filing a complaint on, you may want to come to these additional and check them out and see how they recommend you file a complaint. And some of them actually have forms that you can fill out, and that's where keeping those records and notes is handy, so that you can fill out the forms depending on what your complaint is. The federal government has a lot of resources, and so I'm showing you key resources that I think are helpful for filing complaints. One of the nice things about the FTC File a Customer Complaint is that when you go into this area on their website, and it'll just take a bit to load, they actually walk you through. Choose your category, and then they walk you through exactly how to put in a complaint. And one of the neat things, and Stella, this area here, the identity theft, is a set up special website that actually has a way for you to make a plan. So if your identity is stolen or hacked, they actually have an easy to follow plan that shows you how you can recover from that. And I really like how their website is organized, because it is very easy to follow. The FCC specializes in communication organizations that you might have a complaint with. So your TV provider, phone provider, internet service provider. And so they've got particular areas that you can go in and file your complaint with them. National Cybersecurity Alliance is a non-governmental organization made up of several governmental entities and for-profit and non-profit. They've formed an alliance, and they have a really nice web page that gives you general information and has a resource library in order for you to find out more about how to stay safe online, how to file complaints. So this is more of an information site and not necessarily a site where you would file your complaint, but it is a way to get information about how to move your complaint forward if you're having difficulty. They have a special page for hacked accounts and information and connections. So you can get specific help in particular areas if your account's been hacked. This is an initiative that was put together by President Obama in 2010, and it is the Stop, Think, Connect initiative. And again, this has tips and advice on what you can do if you have problems. It has research and surveys and other resources to help you with any online type of issues you may have. This is for people, possibly Dave, who like to do deep research into different types of security issues that you may be looking at, different types of attacks, cyber attacks that are happening online. So this is a good place to get that information and find out about those type of things. And then my last one was just the Yelp that I relaunched, and we are done with that portion. So I hope that was, go ahead, Judy.
No, we've got some good questions.
All right, I am ready.
Okay. Well, Paul mentions about the Better Business Bureau, and are they still in business? Yes, they are, Paul. Do you want to comment on the Better Business Bureau?
I do. So there was a particular reason why I did not put the Better Business Bureau up there. There have been problems with the Better Business Bureau, and I myself have had problems with the Better Business Bureau. They no longer seem to be as neutral as they used to be, and they have actually been caught where they have promoted companies because the company paid additional money and demoted the complaints against that company, so people weren't aware that that company had some of the problems they had. So I do not find any people referring or organizations, any of the websites that I showed you from the government to the local, I did not find them promoting the Better Business Bureau at all. So I have left that off of the resources that I'm listing. But yes, they are still in business.
Yeah, and I'd like to.
And they do have good videos.
Yeah, I'd like to confirm that also about the Better Business Bureau. Oh, Zia said true about the Better Business Bureau. She used to volunteer for them. Okay, so she would have inside information there. Yeah, so there are plenty of other wonderful resources that Manette has just given you. And I'll tell you, the Attorney General's offices, Attorneys General offices around the country are really responsive. Used to be own my own company, and we a lot of my clients were being pestered on the phone. So this isn't only something that happens to you with a product or a service, but when you get those phone calls, and it had to do with automobile warranties, which I've heard some of those have reared their ugly head again. So we reported that, and the Attorney General of Arizona did crack down on that and stop that from happening. So your complaints, in particular to the right people, are really, they work, and
they do.
It's important. One thing though I'm really concerned about. Let me get to this question. Let me see. Wait a minute. Here, Z, you also said, I'm always afraid to report things on Yelp or even give bad reviews. Sometimes the business with the bad review will come back and try to sue you for the bad review. So Manette, did you come across anything like that?
I didn't come across that as a warning, but if you're concerned about that, then don't file the complaint through Yelp. I mean, I think that's a valid concern to have. Instead, file your complaint with perhaps the governmental agency that might oversee that organization, because that information still counts. When I filed my complaint about the matter that was happening with my car to the State Attorney General's office, they actually took that complaint and were putting it together in a case against the organization that I had the complaint against. So my information actually helped, even though it didn't go on something like Yelp. So if you're concerned and you have seen a company retaliate, then put your complaint through a governmental agency or one of those, the consumer, like the PIS consumer or rip-off reports, put it through there if you don't feel comfortable putting on Yelp. But there's other places you can file your complaint.
Now, Phyllis is making a statement here where she feels Yelp has a situation like the Better Business Bureau. If companies don't sign up, they manipulate the information. We can't prove or disprove that statement, but one of the things that I love about review sites is that if you see either compliments or complaints not being addressed by the particular company, like for instance, you compliment them, they should thank you for that compliment. If you have made a complaint, they should, it should be transparent, right? It should be up there how they work to resolve that issue. If you don't see anything but a series of compliments or complaints, that to me is not a responsive company. The other thing is that we've mentioned this before, if you see all fives or all ones, be concerned, right? It's either their friends or their enemies, in my opinion, so it's not a balance. Not everybody feels hard one way or the other. So, and also don't look where there are very limited numbers, like 3 people commented. That's not a good sampling. Let me go scroll back here and see, did I miss any other questions?
Oh, Moniette, did you want to
Yes.
talk about doing complaints on Facebook or social media?
No, I didn't go into the specific process or, per individual organization. So yes, if somebody wants to share that information about specific with Facebook or something like that, but I didn't go into that detail. I just wanted to cover general resources and general process for complaint.
So with Consumer Reports, Tim, as far as I know to date, they still remain steadfast to their mission. And are
Yes.
very reliable. Does anybody have any contradictory information on that? No. Okay. TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor, I've seen on TripAdvisor where hotels or what have you have come and had an engaged back and forth with customer complaints and compliments, but not consistent. And I don't know enough about that to, about the organization as a whole. I do use it as one of the sources. Would you agree, Moniette, that it's just another one to weigh in with, but not the only one?
And Paul had his hand up. Didn't know if you.
Regarding Dave's comment about social media, I got so mad about not getting any response by telephone or anything. I wish I could remember what the company was, but I went to Twitter and did a search to find out if the company had some accounts on Twitter, and there was an account that looked like it was a response to your comment. So rather than Twitter them a message, I sent them a private message. I got a private message back saying and telling me who to contact. I wish I could remember what the company was, but I was really quite surprised. I had to log on. You know how you do with Twitter, you have to make them that you follow them. But right after I I logged off. I got them off the comment. One other interesting thing, by the way, is anybody ever go through the Amazon webpage to find the link that literally lets it? It's way down there. I must say, immediate response when I finally got to somebody, but it's not obvious. There's must be a formula as to how to get to contact and then find out which contact is the one that's going to be answering a problem.
That is true of Amazon. I think they purposely, you have to drill down to find it. Yes, people have reported that they've often gotten a response faster on Twitter. And some of the resources that I have that I didn't show, but I will also have resources that show you alternative ways to try to contact a company. It's just that it could take a long time to go through that. And so I did not I didn't go through that, but I do have a resource that shows you Twitter and Facebook and some other ways that you may want to try to contact a company. So that's awesome, Paul. Yes,
I
Dave.
just put in the
Oh, sorry,
chat.
Judy.
Sorry, I just put in the chat a phone number I've used for Amazon that's worked within the last couple of months. I can't
Share it with
say it's still
everybody.
valid,
Awesome.
but yeah, and they answer and they fix it right away.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to comment on. I'll make sure that comes in the follow-up information. By the way, about Twitter, and I think we should do a separate Twitter. I know Senior Planet does the Twitter lecture, and so maybe we should do the lecture first just to give a little overview, and then start to talk about the strategies. Like, I love having Twitter, not because I tweet really much of anything. Same with Instagram. I don't do anything with Instagram, but I love the ability. Twitter is the best way to get in the back door to the top people. It's amazing. Like I strategic alliances is what I have done for companies through my career. And that's how I get, my bosses would always say, how do you do this? How do you get these people to say yes? It's like, I compliment them on Twitter.
I must say,
LinkedIn.
yeah, when I did the thing with the Twitter message, I really got the feeling somebody was out there looking at this stuff.
Right.
There's a feeling that there's a guy who has his Twitter account open.
Yes.
Because the thing came back as if he's reading down, he finally got to yours. It's like you guys looking at the chat.
Right.
You're looking, and given the time it does to be looking at what other people might be saying, but it was recognize this is under the private message part of Twitter.
Right.
This did not go out on the network.
But it's the whole thing, because there's the risk, Paul, that you would put it out on the public network. And so everybody who's in business, who has a Twitter account, is having that monitored all the time, because Twitter is the place. I think I've mentioned to this group before how this is where news first is put out onto the internet, is more likely on Twitter than anywhere else. This is where, you're going to find these tips and tidbits and things that are happening in real time. And so where other social media is a little bit slower in terms of the way the setup is, they've got to keep their eye on that account. They're keeping their eye on all of their social media, but the Twitter is something that you can really get in behind. And like, it's amazing, like even somebody like, the CEOs of different companies, you'd be surprised. And it's not that the CEO is sitting there, but the CEO has hired somebody to sit there as damage control. And that's what you've got to know, is that they don't want their reputation damaged.
Having worked in public relations, I'm sure it's a public relations guy who has that job to sit on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
The other thing is that on Twitter, somebody can come along and see what your problem was and then agree with you. And then the next guy agrees. And suddenly you've got these pile of people who are saying they all had the same problem.
And so see, they want to get you. So if you had that problem, they want to solve that problem before that long list accumulates, right? They want to get them off that public network fast and get that issue resolved. So you've got a lot of power using, especially the government websites, and then, all of us keeping track of what is the current best social media platform to zap them, and that's Twitter.
May I say, I give 5 stars to this presentation. This is one of the best presentations I've seen on Senior Planet.
Oh, thank you.
That's so nice to Manette. This week now to Manette and her wonderful research.
What you've seen is kind of how I do things and the way my brain thinks. So thank you.
By the way, that's what I love about it, because you've shown that before. You think beautifully organized, because you seem to be thinking in a way that says, how can I say this for other people to understand? And that's a valuable thing.
Oh,
That's because getting it out of here
Yeah.
to out to you takes some work.
By the way, relative to what was happening with the network, I've often thought as I've been watching Senior Planet is that any of the teachers or people who get on to give presentations should be given high quality internet service for free in order to make sure that their transmission, that's
Right.
a wishful thinking, but
You know
uh,
something, Paul? I privately, my husband and I, we pay for the best, the highest, the best equipment, the highest level of internet. And today, mine's all messed up. So even when you have it, it's not perfect. You know, and that's the problem. But you're right. We should make sure everybody has that. This working from home, who knew, right? Who knew it was going to be this long or longer? And, you know.
So the handout will go out. Judy, I will have it ready probably later tonight
Okay.
because I'm adding some things to it given our questions and stuff. So.
Okay, so you've got like 10 minutes if you're not, unless anybody, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, Phyllis.
I had a question. Do you have any experience with those TV station people that, they have complaint departments at the local TV stations, and then when they find a good story, they try to fix it, and then they put the people on the TV and stuff like that?
Tom Martino has helped me.
Each of the stations
I
has
have
people like that.
I have filed complaints with some of the stations, and some have been responsive and some haven't. So I don't want y'all to think I only complain, but I do notice things aren't going right or something isn't going right with me, and I do complain. One of my complaints actually was elevated to the Attorney General state of Nevada, who joined with our Attorney General in Colorado to get a fraudulent company to cease and desist operations in Colorado. So it does matter. And sometimes you don't know when you have your complaint, you don't know how many other people might be impacted by you taking the initiative to file that complaint. So yes, I have done complaints with some of the Tom Martino one. I don't have time to tell y'all, hilarious and not a satisfactory ending, but it was a hilarious anecdote now.
Glenda, she says, I have Google in my email. Do you mean you have Gmail and YouTube? Who should I contact? I don't know that I understand that question. Can you come off mute and help us? Glenda, there you go.
I'm trying.
Oh, you put yourself back on mute.
Okay. The typing is really bad. I have Spanish in my Google email, YouTube, etc. Who should I contact for that one?
Okay, I will.
Go ahead, Manette.
So when you say you have Spanish, you're getting emails in Spanish?
Yes.
Or
I
it's
know
showing
it's
everything in Spanish?
It's showing everything in Spanish. I know it's hacked.
That would be, you may want to call the hotline, the Senior Planet hotline, and have someone sit with you just to make sure of what you're seeing. And they may be able to at least help you decide or determine what the problem is. And then, so I will add to the information I'm sending out
They'll
Google
get the hotline
resources, because Google is one of those go ahead.
No, you're right. Go ahead, Manette. You're one of the non-people.
Yeah, non-peopled resources, because you get it for free. So oftentimes you actually have to go to their support page, or you have to go to community forums about Gmail and Google to find help. Usually you're not going to be able to get help directly. Google wiped out my entire archive from 2004 through 2011, and I've never been able to recover that email or find out what went wrong. So that is one of the unfortunate things with Google.
Glenda.
I have a question too.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
Glenda, we'll make sure that in that follow-up email, make sure that your email is in the chat if it's not already. And you can also call the hotline, or Dave or John, both of them could take a look at that for you as well. So yeah, that's important to get resolved. Before I go to you, Mark, and I think Ann, Phyllis, you've had your hand up for quite a while. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I said about Yelp, I had read an article, so I looked it up, and they were in court in 2014, and the court said Yelp has the right to manipulate reviews. And then in 2018, I see online that a business owner shared how Yelp allegedly manipulated the ratings. So that's where I got it from. I had read an article. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on in 2020, but from a few years ago, I remember that. So,
well, and there again,
you don't pay up, you get, like.
So they're kind of extorting. Gotcha.
You're on, they said the court said it wasn't extortion, but I think it is.
Not, yeah, but yeah, it wasn't. But then, there's always the difference between the law and what's ethical. So thanks, Phyllis. That's great information. And Ann, I think you might have been.
Yes. So Google doesn't have a phone number because, to make a long story short, I never called it, but I was having problems with my new Android phone and they told me they couldn't help me because it was a Google issue. And so they gave me they said to call Google. Is that true or false? I never called, but they said, oh, you have to contact Google to let them help you. It was something about the Google Drive or something.
Oh, I don't know.
If it's one of those, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, it probably was not who was your trying to sell company. It was probably, I think what they said was correct. But Senior Plan does have tech resources that can help you. For example, in Gmail, you can set what language it uses. I'm
sorry, wait, let me mute. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I did a thing a couple of weeks ago on Gmail settings. And the top thing in the general page under settings is what language you have. So it's easy to fix that. How that got busted, I have no idea. How that changed to Spanish, I have no idea. But my guess is that if you went to the settings, which is a little thing that looks like a gear on the top right of your Gmail page, and you just click all settings and you'll see it there under general.
So unfortunately, Google is a behemoth, and they are involved in products as well as providing online services. So it can be confusing. Their online services, unless you have a business account or a nonprofit account, does not have or come with manned customer support. So on the product side, usually you're going to go to whatever manufacturer of that piece of hardware that you're using that's partnered with Google. You're usually have to go to them. So if they're telling you that it is a Google issue, unfortunately, if it is the software side, there isn't someone for you to call. Usually you have to go through an email process.
Oh, okay. I'm going to forget about it.
So the Senior Plan has lots of resources to help you, so take advantage of that. But the general rule of thumb is if you're getting something for free, A, they're selling you, and B, there won't be any live or a real person. You might be lucky to get on a chat with a robot.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's go to Mark's question or comment.
I had the same problem with email coming in with different languages. Somehow my email got sent to a realty firm in Los Angeles that only did Spanish. And then somehow after that, my email address got sent down to Brazil. and had Sky Communications. And fortunately, with the Google Translate Portuguese to English, and I could read it, unsubscribe, but it took a while, or also wrote in English and had that translated to Portuguese, but it took a while, but it's all cleaned up now. And with Dave's settings, his seminar on, just delete or a spam or something, I haven't gotten anything for quite a while now.
Yeah, that's really what the spam thing is for. And it will give you an option to unsubscribe if it sees an unsubscribe link. I don't know whether that's in other languages as well, but there's
Yes.
report spam and unsubscribe. And that's your first step. If you followed that thing I did the other day, after I do that, I also add a filter to put them into a probably trash folder, but that's an added step. But the simple thing that everybody should do when they get stuff from people where they have no idea why they got it and they don't want it is to click the spam button.
I'm still getting telephone calls where some big long Chinese message. And the Chinese message I recorded, and then I used Google translation service to find out what it said. So I played it into my microphone.
Right.
That's
Awesome.
very
And
clever.
Google translated it for me. So now I know. The lady says the same thing 3 times, and I never answer a phone unless I recognize the number. So I have these messages from this Chinese lady. Why they're calling the United States, I don't know, but.
Yeah, it's important that you label things as spam and block them. I think what we might have been confused about with Glenda is that it wasn't everything in Spanish, was it just specific emails? And then that's different. So, using what Mark did, by following Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I get stuff in random languages all the time, usually in the spam folder. But if it's not in the spam folder, I'll just mark it as spam, and then future messages like that go into spam.
Yeah.
And now that I've heard of this, people are probably going to start sending me foreign languages because I haven't gotten them yet.
Some problems are worth
But
having.
Chinese would be cool because I took Mandarin way back in high school. So that would be fun to hear Google Translate it.
Can I add an additional thing? This is Glenda. I called the senior planet help person. He helped me get some of it fixed, but there's other things besides the email now. It's like YouTube, Google Drive, Google everything is all all over the place.
So if it's giving you instructions in Spanish, is that what you're saying? The labels are in Spanish? Yeah, if you go to the Gmail settings and you change it back to English, there's a little link there. It says change all Google applications, and YouTube is owned by Google, so all the Google applications will get fixed. I can drop a picture of that into the chat, or I can just show it to you if you want.
Yeah, and Glenda, if you have a problem, like I said, you can make an appointment with, you can either go on to Dave's call or make an appointment with John. So I'll send that in the follow-up email for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, because then it's easier when, you can share the screen or whatever. And, if there's.
I just have a general question I'd like to address. It is not pertaining to a complaint. But I've been assisting a very elderly gentleman for some years with his taxes, and he refuses to do it and file electronically, insists on sending a paper copy. We've never had any problem, and he gets a rather sizable refund every year. I helped him with his taxes in February, and he's yet to have received his refund. We've double-checked our hard copies. There's nothing wrong. Does anyone know if they have a direct line now that we've gone past the July 15th deadline? I thought, because I've tried every conceivable way and I've gotten nowhere in the last 6 weeks. And I know there's been no people. I know all of those. But I thought maybe there was a secret a secret number or something somebody could
Did
share
you-
with me that I could get through a person.
Did you go online? And
Yeah.
because you can check online to see the status.
I did that.
Of-
And it said, and again, the status,
Okay.
put in a social
And-
security number. I know the amount, I know when it was filed, and it says pending. And this has been going on now since forever. So I need a body. I need to talk
You
to
can
somebody.
call your local IRS office,
Have anybody local here?
the one that's in your
we'd have
city
to
or
Cheyenne.
state.
In the Cheyenne office, but that's all connected to an 800 number, and it just filters through, and I'm getting nowhere. I'm not getting anywhere.
Yes.
I just thought maybe.
They've been
Me
people
too.
have,
I have read articles lately that they are really
one of
backed
the
up.
websites that I showed you.
by mail, and you know, they haven't received.
No, I filed my own on the same day, and I do mine electronically, and I got my refund immediately, but
Yes.
this is not working.
And there's also a slow up with the post office going on right now as well, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, you're
So
also-
there is, in the
just putting
resources that I have,
Hello.
there is a complaint. There is a complaint for filing complaint against government entities. So I will just make sure that I include that specific link that shows you how to file, because I did. It is in the resources that I had about filing complaint against an entity, but to get to a person, there's a 311 for your local information. There is a government manned phone that is like 311, and they can direct you to, and I'll be sure to put that number in there.
Oh, okay. I'm
So that might
familiar
help you
with
get through.
one, but I didn't think about that one yet. Thank you. But I really would like to just find a body,
Mhm.
you know, and as I said, I told him I wasn't going to do his taxes anymore unless we did it electronically.
I have the same issue. I didn't get mine either. And I went through all the same things that you did. And I had to call my accountant. I have an accountant and they're looking into it. They said that they had to redo something and I'm going to get it in another 6 to 8 weeks. But I called every number like you and got the same thing. I couldn't connect.
Okay, here, we got the answer. We've got the answer.
Oh.
Marcy was told by the IRS that they stopped all processing of paper returns due to COVID-19 and plan to resume processing them August 1st. I also put in the 800 number for the IRS to file a complaint by phone.
Oh.
Thank
Oh,
you, Judy.
you put it in, did you say you put it in the chat, Judy? I
Yeah,
didn't understand.
which means it'll go into the follow-up email if I have everybody.
Thank you.
You got it.
I found,
Collectively, we're just brilliant.
We are. And there is a book, and I will have a link to the book. It is free. It's downloadable. It's called Consumer Actions. It's put out by the government, and it has all kinds of strategies and information about how to file complaints. And it's easy to get through. So I will provide that link as well.
I found it very interesting when they, the supplemental help that they sent out on the government, the $1,200 bit, whatever. I had everything and I have all my stuff sent to my bank electronically. And when I looked at how it was described in the statement, I thought it was my tax return. The
Right.
same
Oh.
language was used.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Jermaine, did you have?
Right, I've done that, and he got his $1,200, but we still don't have the refund, and I got mine. So yeah, we double check that, and I look at his bank statement every month. He's quite, he needs some help. Let's put it that way. So I've been right on top of it, but we still don't have the sizable refund, and it's enough. I mean, he could use it, you know. So
Everybody's,
yeah. Margaret says there's millions in the
Oh, go ahead.
backlog.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Margaret, thanks for
Millions
that.
of returns. Yeah. I didn't know because I filed my taxes right on the last deadline, but I do it electronically. And so I didn't have any problems. And my mother filed hers physically, and it took a while.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any trouble with mine either, but I do it electronically. You know?
Yeah.
So, but I think he might.
They're definitely
decide.
punishing, whether purposefully people who are doing it by paper.
Yeah, because they
I-
want to get rid of that
They
system.
don't want you to, but
Right.
some people are just very averse to doing that. Thank you very much for that information.
Okay, I think we got all the questions. Tell me if I'm wrong. And marvelous
job.
help and, oh, very good job on
This is wonderful. Thank you.
And all
Great.
of you, thank you for your
Yes,
contribution.
thank everybody.
Okay, and
'Cause-
like I said, I'll get this sent out this afternoon or by tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So I'm just going to
Thank you
make
so
a
much
quick
for
note.
everything.
The
Thank you.
widget that you now see on
Oh.
Senior Planet website, the little blue person in the little circle, is an accessibility widget. Play around with it. Because even though I don't use assistive services, I found a couple of the things that widget does to be helpful to me. So
Moniette,
just
I
play
wanted
around with
to
it. Be
ask
brave,
you-
click on that little blue person.
Moniette, I wanted to ask you, would you be interested in coming on Monday? Or are you busy Monday at 11:30?
I can't, Monday and Wednesdays, I
Oh,
can't.
okay.
I am actually
Well,
doing
let's-
a class for New York.
Oh, okay. And let's schedule then, because I'd like you to go over
But
that.
Tuesdays,
Yeah, we'll figure it
Tuesdays,
out.
Tuesdays and Thursdays are my best
The
days.
best. Got it.
Mhm.
All
Okay.
right. Well,
Okay.
everyone have a wonderful weekend.
You
And
too.
on
Thank you.
Monday, we're going to be doing, it's our 100th program, and it'll be a bit of a variety on Monday. You can look on the website at Senior Planet Colorado events, and you'll see the 100th Lunch and Learn. And you're welcome to come to that. We're going to do a few things there, but we're going to talk about establishment of specific groups that we've decided upon as we've gone through these sessions, like the solo agers group, the movie club, a book club, a this, or that, or whatever you want. So please come if you'd like to contribute to that, because then we're going to get those on the calendar and happening.
Judy,
So, yes.
I hope to connect with you from Central Park on Monday. I'm going to give that a try so we can show you perhaps some of the gardens in Central Park.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, because part of it we want to see if you can get outside, if you have some Wi-Fi either outside your home or in any location safely that you can get, even if it's only for a little bit of the first 15, 20 minutes or half hour of the call. Yeah, but even if you've got a potted plant, whatever you have that's nature, we'd love to share with one another. So we'll take the first half hour of that call to do a sharing, and then we'll start to talk about some of the other things that are pertinent to you. So
thank you.
What time on Monday? We're always same time, same channel, same Zoom link. 11:30 Mountain Time, which means it's 1:30 Eastern Time, 10:30 Pacific Time. And then, no wait, am I in the right direction? 11:30, yeah, 12:30 Central Time. So anyway, everybody's welcome anytime, but we meet here Monday through Friday, 11:30 Mountain Time. So you can always come on. And with that, unless anybody has something else, we will end.
Well, it was a great morning. Thank you again for everything.
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
Thank
Thank
you.
valuable stuff. Have a good weekend.